Yo, how's it going, guys? So I'm back in the workshop today with another exciting project. The plan is to fit a fixed gear belt drive on this Cinelli Tutto. So some of you guys might remember the build I did on this from a few years ago. A few parts have changed since then, like the wheels, and it is missing a few parts like the drivetrain. But the main reason why I've gone for this frame is that it features this really neat split in the seat stay, which is specifically designed for fitting a belt. Because a belt is a fixed length and can't be cut and repinned like a traditional chain, there's no way for you to get it through the rear triangle unless you have a split in your frame like this. So interestingly, they actually removed this split design when they released the Tutto Plus, which was a bit of a shame, but it seems like they've actually gone back to adding a split in their newer 2024 frames, but those ones for some reason feature 130mm rear spacing and also a derailleur hanger. They made this model Tutto from I think 2017 to about 2019. There is a few other companies out there that make frames with these split links, like the Schindelhauer. Their split design is actually at the dropouts, which is pretty sweet, but yeah, they aren't really that common and they're pretty hard to find, especially down here in New Zealand. So the team over at Gates were kind enough to set me up with this fixed gear kit, so let's take a look at it. They don't currently have any 144 BCD options, so I've gone for this 130 BCD chainring to set up on some Sugino messenger cranks. This chainring size is 55 tooth. So because the tooth design is obviously quite different, it means that the chainring size for a 55 tooth is actually a lot smaller than a traditional 55 tooth. So here's a little comparison. I didn't actually have a 55, but this is a 53, and as you can see there's quite a big difference. I've also got this other 46 tooth chainring, which looks like it's about the same size as the belt drive. So yeah, that just gives you an idea of the size difference. This is the 20 tooth stainless steel fixed gear cog. It looks so damn nice. And yeah, it looks like it's about the same size as like a traditional 16 tooth cog. So the gear ratio I've gone for is 55-20, which is similar to what I usually run, which is around 47-17. Here's a look at the belt. So this is a Gates Carbon Drive CDX model, and the belt length is 113 tooth. So the belts come in many different lengths, and to get the right belt length you need to measure the chainstay length and then use their calculator online, and then this way you can figure out the correct belt length and also gear ratio. They also sent this really sweet belt whip, which is for fitting the rear cog, as a normal chain whip definitely isn't going to work. So yeah, I'm pretty keen to test this thing out. Interestingly, the belt on this doesn't actually have any teeth, so I guess it just kind of grips on. So one thing I noticed is that the cog is actually quite wide, which means that there's no easy way to get a traditional lock ring tool on a normal 2-notch lock ring. So what I've done to get around this is I've bought a Sugino Fumikiri steel lock ring, which has a 16 tooth notch design, which is similar to the normal Shimano or SRAM bottom brackets, which means I can use a BB tool like this one here, which should hopefully work out quite well. So yeah, I'm pretty damn excited to see how this belt drive on a fixed gear is going to feel. I haven't really ridden many belt drive bikes before, so I'm not exactly sure what to expect, but I've heard a lot of good things about them, so yeah, let's get into it and find out. So looking at this chainring, it looks like it's slightly offset by a few millimeters. As you can see, it kind of dips to this side and then also pops out this other side. So I guess this is what the A and B markings are for. So I've set it up with the offset going towards the chainstay, so it's as close as possible. So the chain line is one thing I definitely need to get right. So now that I've fitted the crankset, what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure the front, and I've got this neat little run well guide which looks like it's just over 42 millimeters. But to get the exact measurement, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some calipers. So to start off, I'm going to measure the seat tube diameter, which looks to be about 28.8. Then I measure the outside of the seat tube to the center of the chainring, which looks like it's about 57.8. Now if I half the 28.8, it should give me the center line, which is 14.4. And now if I take that 14.4 off 57.8, it should give me the chain line, which works out to be about 43.4. So now that I have that measurement, I need to work out the rear cog chain line. So I'm just going to test fit the cog and then measure it here. So I'm measuring the outside of the hub to the center of the cog, which is 14.6. So if I get 60, which is the center of the hub, and then minus that 14.6, this should give me the chain line, which will work out to be about 45.4. So there's only roughly about 2 millimeters of difference from my measurements. Alright, so after fitting the cog, I realized that tightening it down would have moved it in a little bit, and I've also swapped the chainring around so it's sitting further out, and this way I've managed to eliminate that 2 millimeter difference. So the way I'm measuring it is I'm using the flat edge of a metal ruler, and I'm sitting it on the outside of the teeth on the chainring, and then you can line it up with the rear cog, and as you can see here, it's just about brushing up against the edge of the rear cog, so it's almost perfect. Maybe within about 0.5 millimeter difference, so I'm pretty happy with that. Now for anyone who's wondering how the belt stays in line, it has these little grooves that match up with the chainring and the cog, which keeps it straight, but also stops it from being able to slide off from side to side. So I've been told that the belt tension is quite important, and especially on a fixed gear setup. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fit these surly tug nuts to help keep it as even as possible. So there is a few different ways to measure the tension, but I don't have any of those tools, but the easiest way to do it is you can use the Gates app, and it measures the frequency of the belt. So if you just give it a little ping, it records it in hertz, and it gives you a graph of the range that it should be in. So if we scroll down to the single speed section, it's got a range between 45 as the lower and then 65 as the upper. Now I want to aim for the higher end, as I definitely don't want to risk the belt slipping or anything like that. So let's measure this tension, which came out around 35, so let's put a little bit more on. Alright, so that's getting a little bit better now. Alright, perfect. So I've just put a little bit more tension on, and it's coming out about 64 hertz, which is right on the upper limit, which I'm pretty happy with. And there we go guys, a belt drive fixed gear. I'm pretty damn happy with how it's turned out. It seems super smooth and it's pretty quiet. You can tell there's quite a bit of tension, as I did put it on that upper limit. So I think it creates a little bit of drag and maybe a little bit of noise. But I think if you did run it at a lower tension on a single speed setup or something similar, it would be even quieter and smoother. But given it's fixed and brakeless, I really don't want any chance of this belt slipping. So yeah, I'm pretty damn keen to test this thing out now. I've never ridden a belt drive fix, so really interested to see how it feels. You gotta love that clean, lubeless drivetrain. It's so smooth. And yeah, another big thanks to Gates for letting me test out this awesome setup. Let me know what you guys think of this, or if any one of you have built up a belt drive before. Really keen to hear what you all think. But anyway, it's time to go test this thing out now. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll catch you all next time. Peace.